Welcome to Expat Storytime. Today's episode is going to be not about expat stories at all. It's going to be about Diego. I'm going to introduce you to how we got him, and the reason why is because summer is coming up and I want to continue making YouTube videos, but I can't really do them here at home because the kids are home. I think I'm going to start filming videos on walks with him. I'm going to see how it works, and then I could talk while I walk. Let's try it. When we were signing the adoption paperwork for Diego, I noticed a document on the table next to the shelter manager. It was kind of far away from me on her left side, and I was on the other side of her. And it was a form of his real story. And I read across the table that he was found in a box in the forest. I couldn't believe my eyes. It said, in Box im Wald gefunden. So I asked the manager to confirm that because she told me over the phone that he was found on the street. But she quickly changed the subject after I asked her to confirm he was actually found in a box in the forest as opposed to found on the street. So it's one of those things, if this transaction were in my mother tongue, I would ask more questions. But maybe to her, it didn't matter anyway how exactly Diego was found. But I did want to know more. The thing is that I am still at this basic level of transaction and basic conversation in German. I mean, I could do a little bit more, but with things like these, I still get a little bit intimidated with authority. Anyway, the way we came to become Diego's forever family involves rescuing another dog first. I guess this is an expat story time because it is our story of how we adopted Diego in Germany. There are a lot of processes that are the same in Germany as in California when adopting a dog, but there are also some differences. So there are 3 ways you could go about animal adoption. As in California, there are rescues, animal shelters, and going through a breeder. We decided to look first at rescue organizations, and there are a lot. What we found was the rescue organizations are havens for dogs coming from abroad: Spain, Bulgaria, Romania. And actually last year we took on a dog from Spain. He was a Potenko breed, which is purebred, bred to hunt small animals. We wanted a trial period first though, in order to see how it would work. So we applied ourselves as a foster family. So a foster to adopt is what they're called, and the rescue agency approved us after our initial one-to-one interview. His name was Chico, our Podenco, and he had spent his whole life at an animal shelter in the south of Spain. The reason why I inquired about him in the first place on their website is because his description said he was friendly, he had passed a cat test, meaning he had some visits with cats, and he showed no signs of aggression, and it said he was laid back. I knew going in that he would need a lot of work, that he was not house trained and needed training from a professional trainer in order to learn, at minimum, the basic commands. So we actually hired a trainer before we even met him and before his transport out of Spain. She lived right down the road. Her website said she spoke English, so I thought a perfect fit. She did a pre-consultation with us about her home setup and gave us some advice on what to do and what not to do upon Chico's arrival and stuff like that. So the day came for us to meet him. We drove an hour away to meet the transport truck that had just driven all the way from Spain. We were all super excited. We greeted him, gave him a big hug, and he was a sweetheart. The next 3 weeks was a combination of a nightmare and a big learning experience for us, but it culminated to Chico finding his right people, and I still have no regrets about what happened. Basically, we were overwhelmed with his deep-seated issues. One thing I was hoping was that because he had spent his whole life at the shelter, his history was known. He was always fed, never abused. The shelter had volunteers to socialize the dogs, take them on walks, pet them, interact with them. However, this dog was afraid of his own reflection in the window. One night he started barking uncontrollably at his reflection in our large living room windows. And it makes sense. He had never seen his reflection in a window. And it took me a while to realize what he was barking at. I comforted him, actually moved him to a different room, and he calmed down. I am actually not going to get into the details of all his issues because this video is about how we came to adopt Diego. Now, he got along with our cats and our kids beautifully, but he had serious issues with strangers and also other strange dogs during our walks. He would aggressively pull and lunge. He was really strong for a small dog. He got along well with the trainer's own dog, and she explained that when he gets to know a dog and becomes friends with that dog, it gives him confidence. And she mentioned she knew a retired lady who lived with her adult daughter, who was 25, and they already had a rescue dog who was shy, and they were kind of looking at getting a second dog to bring their current dog out of his shell. They had a big grassy large garden. To make a long story short, we were a foster failure, and I mean that in the literal sense. The rescue agency representatives were happy we had found a solution for Chico, but they said a few things that indicated we were in the wrong to give up so easily on him, and made it clear they would not work with us in the future. We ended up volunteering to pay half of Chico's transportation and adoption fee, which was 200 euros. In my opinion, I feel like we were the middlemen, so to speak, of getting Chico to his perfect home. Because without us, there was no way he would find that perfect home. You know, we brought him out of Spain at least. His new family and their dog were perfect for him. We still get videos of him having the zoomies on their lawn and playing with their dog, who is his best friend. Some dogs just really do much better with dog companions in the home. We decided to never have a dog again, never think about it. We were just kind of, I don't know, maybe a little bit traumatized from that experience. So flash forward a year later, we as a family were looking casually again. We live near the forest where we could take a dog on walks on the weekends and after school. And we live in a country that is very dog friendly. You could take your dog into malls, retail stores, some schools, restaurants, some bakeries. Basically, you could take your dog anywhere. Except for you cannot take them into grocery stores, understandably. Restaurants outside seating is perfect. You see people in the summer with their dogs at their feet. It's lovely. But I was kind of turned off by rescue agencies and their attitudes. Hey, I used to actually work at an animal shelter in San Francisco, and I get it. But this time I wanted to actually meet the dog before we adopted it. So I decided to look at our local animal shelter here in Heidelberg. It's called the Tierheim Heidelberg. Tier Animal Heim Home. It is local. You could meet the animal first. Second, talk about getting to know your dog. They have a wonderful policy in place where you have to walk the dog an hour for 3 or 4 days in a row, and then you could take the dog home for 1 or 2 weeks as a trial period. And if it doesn't work out, you bring the dog back. There's no shame. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. The hope is an 80 to 90% of the time it does work out. But I learned from my mistake, you can't adopt an animal just because you feel sorry for it. It has to be a good fit for your family and your lifestyle. We lucked out with Chico that we had found a perfect family for him. We got him once and for all out of the Parera, or the animal shelter, but I would not want to repeat that. I just kept hitting F5, and one day there was only a sentence, not even a picture, just a sentence above all the dogs. And the sentence said, Chihuahua mix muffin. Here is his picture after we inquired about him. But when I first checked the website, they had not even uploaded his picture yet. On the way there, in the car, my girls and I talked about him, and I told them not to get their hopes up. I said, the shelter lady told me they found him on the street. We have no idea what his personality was like because they didn't write up a little description for him. We had no idea if he would like our cats or us. Who knows what his issues are, if he barks incessantly, if he is house trained. To be honest, I wasn't very hopeful. For some reason, I was expecting a short-haired Chihuahua with long legs. They said he was a mix, so I wasn't expecting him to be 100% Chihuahua or even like 100% long-haired Chihuahua. We entered the Tierheim, and the lady said, hold on, I'm going to go get him. And we love to tell this story, by the way. She appeared behind the glass door with him. He was fluffy and excited, and it was love at first sight. But still, he had a lot of tests to pass with us. Again, the reason I love our local animal shelter is that long, slow getting to know you period. We took him on his hour walks every day, 4 days in a row after school. Then one day she asked us if we wanted to take him home and try him out for 2 weeks. We still didn't know if he would get along with our cats, and they gave us some tips on how to manage that. And me working at an animal shelter when I was 19, I remember advising people on cat and dog meets. So, and also when we took him around the block and around the shelter, we did come across a few neighborhood cats, and Muffin was completely unreactive to these neighborhood cats, which gave us hope. To make a long story short, he is a dream dog for us. Yes, he has his issues. He barks at delivery people, he barks at our guests. And once he nipped at my husband's dad when he was visiting. He nipped at his ankle through his pants. So when we have guests, I meet them outside first and they meet Diego, and we go all the way back upstairs to our apartment home together. He is also a very picky eater, will not eat dog food, refuses to. I mean, he ate it in the shelter, obviously, but with us, he will starve a whole day before he has to eat dog food in a dog bowl. So we are working on this. The issues with him for us, though, are completely manageable. He loves other dogs. It is an active pleasure walking with him, and we are very happy with him. Another thing we love about Diego is his size. We could take him anywhere. He doesn't like the rain. So if we're out for a walk and it starts to rain and all of a sudden he doesn't want to walk, he'll literally just stand there. He will refuse to walk on the leash. I could just pick him up and we could walk home together, right? And I guess the only other issue I would say, which isn't really an issue, is unlike our cats, he doesn't like it when you get into his face and kiss him. He loves to be pet, but he doesn't like it when you put your face in his face. Sometimes he'll let me do it because I'm his person, so he makes an exception for me, but I never know whether he will like it or not. Let's try it. Can I give you a kiss? Can I give you a kiss? Tell me, what was your experience adopting a dog abroad or a cat abroad? What kinds of differences did you observe? Tell me in the comments about your experience. See you next time.